Okay, hello and a massive welcome to Theale Green's webinar focused on transition this evening. I appreciate this is not how we would normally do this type of event, normally it would be in the LRC, but hopefully this evening you'll be able to be introduced to a few key members of staff as well as having your questions answered. And there is an absolutely fantastic dedicated team that is working on making sure your child's transition to Theale Green is as smooth as possible. So just before we get started, there's just a few housekeeping items to make sure that everyone is familiar with Zoom, but also this evening's event runs as smoothly as possible. So firstly, everyone's camera is switched off apart from mine, and also your microphones are on mute. And we'd really appreciate it if you could keep the cameras off and the microphones on mute for the whole of the webinar. This way that whoever is speaking can be heard very, very clearly with no background sound. The leadership team all currently have their cameras off apart from me. They will come back and show you who they are so that you can see them when they're talking as well, but they'll also have theirs off just so that you're not distracted. Please note that tonight's event is being recorded. Your names will appear in the recording, but nothing else will be. For the majority of the time, it will be a member of leadership team that is talking that will be in the video. Now, the easiest way to watch this evening's event is to go to Speak of You. Now, on the right hand side of your screen, if you click where it says gallery view, it also says Speak of You. If you click on Speak of You right now, then my face will fill the whole of your screen, or the member of the leadership will fill the whole of your screen rather than seeing everybody's name in the background. If your connection is lost tonight, and hopefully there isn't any internet problems, please do just quickly go back to the link that you were sent earlier this evening, and we'll let you quickly back in. The same will go for any member of leadership team. We may acknowledge that they've quickly had to duck out, but we will then say that they have come back in. Now, this evening, you'll be able to ask as many questions as you like. The best way to do this is the chat function. So if you go down to the bottom of your screen and hover over, you'll see the word chat, and then a panel, if you click on it, will come on the right-hand side of your screen. If you then address your questions to Sam Cartland, then they'll come directly to me and I will feed them through to the leadership team. Now, when you put your questions to me directly, nobody else will be able to see those questions. But if you have any questions this evening that are really specific to your child or your circumstances, please keep those to the one-to-one conversations we'll have later on in the process. Tonight, we'll obviously answer the general ones that are about every single child in this call. And we will now move on to introducing the leadership team. So leadership team, if we can all put on our cameras, please. Fantastic. So I am Samantha Cartland. I'm assistant head teacher at Theale Green, and I am leading on the pastoral programme as well as the remote transition this year. So Jo, if I hand over to you, thank you.
Hi, good evening. I'm Jo Halliday, and I'm very proud to be the head teacher of Theale Green School. Are we doing further introductions now, Sam, or?
Further introductions, please.
Hi, so I'm Charlotte Ballarelli. I'm Deputy Head Teacher at Theale Green School. Really excited to be working at the school, and my main priorities are in terms of curriculum, assessment, and also in terms of leading on the Pupil Premium Fund.
Hello, my name's Peter Taplin. I hope you really enjoyed tonight's event. I am Assistant Head Teacher for Teaching and Learning, and I look at how we make sure lessons and homework suit the needs of all learners in our school.
Hello, I'm Linda Stevens. I'm the safeguarding lead and also the SENCO. So my responsibilities are to make sure that any students with SEN needs are looked after fully in the school. So we will be having one-to-one conversations with any parents later on who have any concerns, but I can answer general queries about SEN tonight for you.
Hello, my name's Chris Lambert, and I am in charge of the student engagement and in charge of the house system as well. So house points and rewards. Thank you.
And Stacey, if you could introduce yourself and role, thank you.
Hi everyone, I'm Stacey Honor. I'm the Group Marketing Business Partner for the Activate Learning Education Trust, of which Theale Green School is a part of. I support the school generally with their marketing and events such as this.
Brilliant, thank you, leadership team. So leadership team, if we could all turn off our cameras apart from Joe, thank you. Okay, so just a quick reminder for those of you that have just joined us, if you do want to have any questions answered this evening, if you click on the chat function at the bottom of your screen, you'll then find a panel comes up and you can address all questions to Sam Cartland directly and I will be able to pick them up. Thank you, I'll hand over to you now, Joe.
Mrs. Cartland, thank you so much, and thank you for the introduction, and a very, very warm welcome to all of you at our webinar tonight. It is extremely frustrating not to be in a hall and to see all of your nervous faces, but excited faces, and to be meeting your families and to be giving you that really warm Theale Green School welcome that we would like to give you. So it's really frustrating, but we're here nonetheless, and we're all getting very good. We have been getting very good over the last few months of practicing with Zoom, and we're getting better at it. So here we are, our Zoom transition evening. And I know that some of you will have started back at primary school already, and you've started back for the final term. Some of you won't have started back yet for a variety of reasons, so it's a really unusual time for you. But what we want to do tonight is focus entirely on the excitement of starting at secondary school, because for transition evening, that's what it is about for you. It's about the excitement. And you know, what we know is that some of you will be feeling very nervous and some of you will be feeling excited, and we'll talk a little bit more about that, and we'll talk about the fact that the one thing we don't want you to feel is worried. And hopefully by the end of this evening, you won't be. Now, what we'd normally do on an evening like this is we'd be starting off by telling you exactly what was going to happen when you start at Theale Green School in September. And right now, that is the one thing that we can't tell you, which is a very strange position for us all to be in. And we don't know what will be happening on the first day back when schools come back after the summer holiday in September. And like all other schools and like your primary schools at the moment, we have to wait patiently to see what happens with the pandemic that we know is living around us, and we have to wait to see what the government tells us to do, and we have to wait for the scientific advisors to give us all the right advice to keep our schools safe, and a safe and healthy place to be in September. So we can't tell you that at the moment, but what we can do is talk about your 7-year journey at Theale Green School, because coming to Theale Green School is so much more than about the first few days. It's about the 7 years that you're going to have with us. And there's a lot for us to talk about, and we hope by the end of the evening you'll have had so much information you don't know what to do with it. And as I say, we want you to feel nervous and excited, because if you run a race, if you run a race at sports day, if you take part in a sports match or in a swimming race, actually feeling nervous beforehand is a good feeling to have. It kind of helps us raise our performance. We want you to be excited because Theale Green School is an amazing place to be. But if you're feeling worried, if you're one of those year sixes, and there will be several others, it's not just you, if you're feeling worried tonight, I want to tell you tonight, and I wish I was telling you in person, that you have nothing to be worried about. Our job at Theale Green School is to enable you to start in year 7 and to feel safe and to feel happy and to feel valued for who you are. And if we focus on getting that right to start with, then what we know is that you will be in the very best place to learn and to have an amazing 7 years ahead. So I wanted to start off, particularly to the children, talking a little bit about the values of Theale Green School. Now, if we were in a hall tonight, I'd definitely be asking you to put your hand up for your first house point to tell me if you remember what one of the values are. And unfortunately, I can't do that, which is really disappointing. So I'm just going to talk through each of the 3 values very, very quickly. So the first value, as you know, it begins with an R, so I know you're all shouting it out to your mums and dads at the moment. The first value is about respect. And we feel really strongly at Theale Green School that we should all, without question, treat each other with respect at all times. And what that means is, it doesn't matter what background you have. It doesn't matter what colour your skin is, what religion you have, how physically or mentally able you are, where you come from, what your accent is, how much money your parents and your family have. It doesn't matter about any of that. When you come through the gates in Theale Green School, you deserve to be treated as an individual and as an equal member of the community. And we feel really strongly about that. And there are no excuses ever for anybody being picked on because they are different to somebody else. So it's about coming to school and saying everybody has value at Theale Green School and we respect each other the whole of the time. And that's something we work really hard on. Now, when we've got that right, hard work is the next one. And start seeing if you can remember the third one, which begins with a P. Hard work is the next one. And it's about really the effort that you make. It's not about being top of the class, and it's not about being the best at at a particular subject or at the best at a particular sport. It's about the effort that you put in. And it's about how hard you try, and when you make mistakes and you fall down, it's about how you dust yourself off and get up and continue to try again. So we think respect is respect is our most important value. Then hard work is our second value. And then when those two things come together, the P, as you know, is for Progress Year 6. And that's about you knowing that you're behaving really well towards other members of your community. It's about you making your very, very best effort. And then you have a real motivation to do better. And you start trying even harder, and you set yourself goals, and you raise your aspirations, and you think about things that you never really thought was possible. And over 7 years at Theale Green School, that's what we hope for you. So all of you sitting there in your family homes now, as 11-year-olds, 7 years is a long way away when you're only 11. But we want you to set the best possible goals for yourself. So maybe a different way to think about it is to think about, well, 7 years is a long time away, but maybe I can think about the impression that I'm going to make in the very first term at Theale Green School. And I started at Theale Green School 2 years ago, and I thought about the impression that I wanted to make when I started at Theale Green. And I had a good think about that. And I decided that the most important things were that as a school, we would focus all of our efforts onto the quality of teaching and learning in the classroom and how we treated each other, the relationships that we had with each other. And that's between students and teachers and parents and the community. And we worked really hard on those two things, and that was the impression that I wanted to make. I wanted people to know that I thought that was important. And at the end of my first year at Theale Green School, some very important people from the government, from the Department for Education, came to visit Theale, and they had a really good look around, and they spent the day talking to our teachers and our students. And they said that they thought Theale Green School had transformed as a school. And we felt really, really proud of that. And then as teachers and the support staff and as a community, we felt really proud of having set out what we wanted our impression to be and then seeing the results of that. So Year 6, what I want you to do is think about, what do you want to do when you arrive at Theale Green School? Coming to secondary school is a fresh start for everybody. It doesn't matter how you've performed at primary school, how your education has gone. It's a fresh start for you. And a fresh start can be meeting new friends. It could be about really trying to tackle a subject you've always thought you were never very good at. It could be about treating people more kindly. It could be about coming out of your shell a little bit. But it's an opportunity for you to think about, what do I want the next stage of my life to be like? What sort of person do I want to be? And what we want is for you to come into your tutor group and come into your classes and really set that out and let us know what sort of person you want to be and what your goals are. So when you come to Theale Green, you'll find yourself in a tutor group, which will be very exciting. And you'll find yourself in classes of probably about 27 students, which is a great, perfect number for most subjects. Some subjects you'll be in smaller classes because of the type of subjects like food technology, but you'll be in a class and you'll have all of those new friends to think about and what sort of impression you're going to make. So a quick word to families and to parents who are sitting listening intently by your side, Year 6. And it's just really to say that, yeah, I did start at Theale Green School 2 years ago. I'm excited. I can't believe that I'm already starting my 3rd year at Theale Green School. And for those of you who have known the history of Theale Green, you know that it's had a tricky few years over the last decade or so. And coming into Theale Green School and having the absolute privilege of working with the staff, the students, the children, parents, the community, we know that we have a school to be so proud of. And we don't get things right every day, and that is about being human. As children and adults, we don't get things right every day, but it's very much about how we learn from those mistakes that we make. And one of the things we value hugely is the relationship that we have with parents, and knowing that we are all on the same side and we are trying to do the very, very best possible thing for the children in our community. So we are very much looking forward to working with you. Our numbers have grown considerably in the last 2 years, and in Year 7 and in September for our new Year 7 and our then Year 8, we have about 130 children in each year group, which is almost double the number of some of the year groups at the top end of the school. So we know more and more children are coming to Theale Green School, and we know that our community is growing. And if you were in the hall with me tonight, I'd be wanting you to say to me, you know, what's your main goal for Theale Green School? And I would be saying to you, I'd be welcoming the question and saying to you that we want Theale Green School to be absolutely the school of choice for the whole community. And we want Theale Green School to stand really proudly at the centre of our community. And the support that we have to do that is amazing, and we are really welcoming you as families onto that journey with us. So I think to finish off, what I would say is back to Year 6 to say that we cannot wait to meet you, Year 6. We are truly excited. We know that you are going to have skills and talents and great senses of humour and probably terrible jokes to bring to Theale Green School, and we can't wait, and we're so looking forward to it. And we have missed hugely the opportunity of not getting to know you a little bit this term, although I know Mrs. Cartland is about to talk about the transition programme, and hopefully you've watched lots of videos on our website, and I know that you will be speaking individually to staff as well. Mrs. Cartland will tell you more about that, but we can't wait to meet you, welcome you into our family that is Theale Green School, and have the real pleasure of seeing you through your next 7 years. So can't wait to see you all, and Mrs. Cartland, thank you very much, and I think I'm handing back to you.
So just a quick update, because there was a few people who came in during the middle of Joe's talk. So anyone that has just joined us, just a quick update on housekeeping. So everyone's camera and microphone is off this evening. So if you do want to ask any questions, and thank you, because I can see it all going a little bit crazy in the corner of my screen already. There's lots of questions already for us to answer. If you just go down to the bottom where it says chat, click on that, and all questions could be directed to Sam Cartland, and then I will be the only person that sees it. So as Joe said, I am currently leading with a fantastic team on the remote transition programme. At the beginning, we wondered what could we do, but actually there is lots and lots that we can squeeze in. So everybody has been given, and you can just about do this, everyone has been given a copy of a roadmap. Now, if you haven't got this, I will make sure that you get an email copy after this webinar so that you can have a good look. Now, there are 11 stops on the journey to Theale Green, and at every single point, so over the next 11 weeks, we will be drip feeding information to you and your families. Now, as Joe has already said, some of that is video. There are lots of videos already on the website. Mr. Lambert has made a fantastic tour of the school. He walked around. There's a scavenger hunt and a quiz already on the website for you to have a look at. So please do have a look on the website. There will be lots of letters coming out to you as well. So parents, I know that you've had lots of information already regarding uniform and contact details. So just keep a little eye on your email account as well, because there will be letters coming out. But for the students as well, there will be letters coming from your tutor who will introduce themselves. They will set you some little tasks about how to get to know you as quickly as possible. And then also along the way, as we appreciate, there are some parents who haven't sent a child to secondary school before. There are some parent support leaflets coming out. Now, as I said, our website has got a dedicated area that is set up just for year 6. So if you go to the transition area, it's year 6 transition page. You will be able to find all of the letters, all of the information, and all of the videos that are going out at the moment, which is absolutely brilliant in case you feel that you can lose something. Along the way, we will also be having one-to-one conversations. So you'll have a call with somebody that is going to be a key member of staff to you. It may be from the pastoral team, or it may be your form tutor, or it may be a member of the leadership team. We will have a conversation with you about your interests. Is there anything you're worried about? Is there any questions we can answer at this stage? But everything in that conversation we'll be able to answer to you directly. We've also been in contact with every single primary school, and I've absolutely loved learning lots about you. I know that there's lots of talented dancers. My subject is dance, so I'm looking forward to meeting all of you. We've already had lots of musicians and sportsmen, and there are lots of people that are interested in geography, which Mr. Captain will be pleased about, as that's his subject. So we are scheduling those in with every school, and they are passing us as much information as they possibly can. But also we're working very, very closely with the year 6 teachers. All of the year 6 teachers had a pack before half term and before greeting the year 6s back on Monday that gave them as much information as possible about the transition programme that we've got, but also lots of things about our expectations in school, the uniform in school, as well as the values that Joe has just spoken about. We're also scheduling in with some teachers Zoom calls just like this, where we'll actually be able to see the students face to face and get to know them as well. And they'll be able to ask us their questions directly. If you are someone that's coming alone from your primary school, please don't worry, because we also have a dedicated programme that is happening for you in the background. Now, at every single stage, there are house points that you can earn. And Mr. Lambert is really keen on you earning house points before you get here in September, because he wants to reward you as soon as possible. So if you email the transition email address, basically we will begin to tally up those house points. And then as soon as we know which house you're in, which group, we will then begin to collate them and reward them in the background. So at every single stage, there's a little task. And then the tutor group that has got the most entries at this point will have a little special reward as well. So there's a little bit of tutor competition in there. And I know that our tutors are going to be incredibly competitive for wanting to have the tutor group with the highest number of house points, as well as our heads of house. So the transition email address, the roadmap that I've just shown you will all come out after this event, just in case you haven't received them, or just as a little reminder as well. So leadership team, if we could all switch back on our cameras, please. Fantastic, thank you. So we've got about half an hour to answer questions. So thank you everybody that has begun to send me questions. I will direct them to each member of the team, and everybody has their own area of responsibility and obviously expertise, and they will be able to give you as much information as possible. So Charlotte, the first question to you. There's been lots of questions about our year 7 curriculum. Obviously Joe's already mentioned that there's food tech on the curriculum, but what is our year 7 curriculum? And also, is there a way that parents can find a copy of it?
We are so incredibly proud of the curriculum that we offer at Theale Green School. And for many of you, this is going to be something, clearly it's going to be new, but it's something so exciting, because at primary school, up until now, you will have studied quite a narrow range of subjects in some respects. So you will have studied obviously maths and English and sport to a very great deal of detail. What you won't necessarily have had is some of the breadth in terms of your learning. So what we have is a curriculum that's very rich, it's broad and it's balanced. And equally amongst that, we have clear subject specialists. So for example, for geography, we mentioned Mr. Taplin as a geography teacher. We ensure that we have subject specialists who deliver this curriculum to the highest standard that we have. Within our curriculum, we offer real challenge to our students. The last thing that we want is students to sit there and think, okay, well, I know that how do I move on from this? Because it's only when we ask ourselves questions that initially we're not sure what the answers to. That's really the best way in order to learn. However, that said, we do offer very clear support behind that, and we make sure that we understand what students' starting point is in terms of that, to really make sure everyone's able to make the best possible progress. We also ensure that all our subjects are talking to each other. So in Year 7 in September, you'll be studying up to 15 different subjects, which is just so many different subjects to the ones that you're necessarily used to. So Mrs. Halliday mentioned about food. That's incredible. So you'll have a specialist time with Mrs. Cartland, who's a food specialist, cooking cheesy scones perhaps on a Friday afternoon, and equally going from that to computer science. So for example, you'll have Mr. Fletcher, who's our computer science specialist, who will take you through the curriculum there to really get you to the highest standard possible. That said, obviously there are some crossovers and overlaps between our subjects, and we very much encourage all our subjects to be talking to each other, so that way you get the best possible learning experience. Equally within our curriculum, we're really proud of offering personal social health education, so that gives you some of those really important life skills that you'll need to have along the way. Equally, we ensure that careers, really important part of the process. We don't just start talking about careers in Year 11. We very much have a clear plan that we lead from the start of Year 7, and it's carefully planned out, including encounters with employers and other really, really exciting bits and bobs that we have along the way, to make sure that by the time it comes to Year 11, you're in the best possible position to make those further choices. This leads seamlessly onto destinations. So in terms of our sixth form as well, really incredibly proud of that. And our sixth formers go on to incredible destinations, ranging from Oxbridge University, going to incredible apprenticeships where they get paid very significant amounts of money to be basically doing a degree and getting you on the job learning as well. So really useful to have that in the back of your mind also. In answer to your question about where can you find the subjects that you'll be studying, which is a really important question, if you go to the Theale Green website, and if you go to curriculum, and if you click on there, you can go to the Key Stage 3 learning journey, and you'll see for Year 7 what that will look like for you. We are in the process of updating that, so there might be some little tweaks for September, but you'll get a really strong flavour for that. Thank you.
Fantastic, thank you, Charlotte. And Chris, the next question is for you. So there are lots of questions happening in the background about house system and when am I going to find out which house I'm in. So Chris, if you could tell us a little bit about, one, what is the house system? There's a couple of questions about when will we find out which house we are in as well.
Okay, thank you. So the house system is made up of 4 houses, Benyon, Piper, Scott and Hunt House. And it's a way of celebrating hard work, progress and respect, and a way of celebrating rewards and making sure that students are always making progress because of the, you know, they're feeling that they're achieving, and that's being celebrated. So we have lots of events and activities that help that. So the students get house points during their lessons, and they get house points in extracurricular activities that they do as well. And the houses will be chosen, so you should find out what house your child is in late June, should be the time that you actually do that. But the house system is a really, really exciting part of school life, and our heads of house are incredibly competitive. I sometimes have to rein them in myself to, you know, calm them down a little bit, particularly at house quiz night, when we have Taskmaster and those sort of things where I'm getting the heads of house to do things. But we also have all the students together on house performance, house music, and then of course sports day and the house matches as well that run throughout the year. So there's loads and loads of activities for the students to do, both performative, quizzes, academic and sports as well, so that they can be the best that they can possibly be. And hopefully some of them will get so many points that they will get to our highest award, which is of course the Philosopher's Stone, if they get 1,000 points in the academic year. So we'll find out. There's a few students this year who are on their way. They might make it because we're still giving house points now for all the hard work they're doing in lockdown. We've got a couple of students who are on their Emerald Award, which is a 700 house points. There's still everything to play for, so we could get there. Benyon are currently in the lead overall, but again, Piper's not too far behind. So we'll see. It's going to be very exciting. We'll keep you posted as well this year too. Thank you.
Brilliant. Thank you, Chris. And there's just been another question about house system. And basically, will we go into the same house as our sibling, or will we go into the same house as members of our tutor group?
Okay, right. So you tend to go into the same house as your siblings on the whole. That tends to be what happens. In terms of tutor group, the tutor group will be split in. There'll be lots of people from different houses within the tutor group. And what this actually helps with is when we have things like house quiz on Fridays, we have different teams playing against each other within the tutor group. So they're not in tutor group by house. They're split around in that way. Okay.
Fantastic, thank you. And Linda, this question is to you. So there's a couple of questions about our anti-bullying procedures and how we prevent and obviously help students settle in and make friends quite quickly.
Okay, so in Theale Green School, we have zero tolerance for anti-bullying. And we take it very, very seriously. We encourage all of our students to work with us to try and find mutually beneficial resolutions. So there is a big difference sometimes between what students think of as bullying, which is actually just normal friendship fallouts, etc. But we will work with any student who has any form of difficulty in the school. We have a very clear process, a ladder process that all our staff follow, which will involve meetings with parents. It will involve meetings with the students so they can sit down and try to resolve issues. And we will take it step by step. But we work very closely with all the students all the time while that's happening.
Brilliant, thank you. And Charlotte, we've had a few questions following your curriculum introduction. So about future options, when do they take their options, what subjects are available, and how does that process work?
Oh, that's a really, really good question. So we took a real reflection on our curriculum last year. I know some schools offer GCSEs from year 9, whereas others start in year 10. What we felt was that Key Stage 3, so years 7, 8 and 9, was really an excellent opportunity to explore all the variety of subjects that we offer at school, because we feel that they offer the best preparation in terms of GCSEs. So students take their GCSE options in year 9 in readiness for year 10, and we're really proud actually through the school closure. So the school shut on Friday, irrespectively on the Monday, all of the leadership team were making calls to our year 9 students to ensure that they were placed onto the right courses. In terms of the courses that we offer, so they range from specialisms in photography to the more traditional subjects like history, geography, French and so forth. But currently we suggest it's a free choice, but we guide people to towards where they feel their talents and specialities lie, really. So yes, so very much in the hands of the students. You can see from our website what our options look like for current year 10. I would just put a word of caution in there though, because year 10 are a much smaller year group compared to year 7 in September. So our offer for year 7 when they hit year 9, which seems such a long time away, will be much broader than that.
Fantastic, thank you. And Joe, this question's for you. So we've had some questions about the canteen and how that works, what the food's like in the canteen and how lunchtime works.
Okay, thank you. Lunch is very important to me, and I think that's why Mrs. Cartland has directed this question to me. Food is an important part of my day. The canteen is a really good place for our students to be, and I know Mr. Lambert actually has been doing a lot of work recently on looking at how we can improve our services and how we can improve the food on offer and how we can make the canteen a really sort of popular place to go. So we have a team of canteen staff who are who work really hard to get to know our students really well. We have a fingerprint system. So when you arrive, we will take your fingerprint, and that means that pretty much we have a cashless system, but it makes it very easy, and it helps people move through the canteen quickly. And we have hot food on offer, and we have sandwiches and wraps on offer. And on Friday, we definitely have chips on offer. But also in the morning, we have things like breakfast time, where students can come in, and on a winter's day, we try and open up the canteen a little bit earlier. So there's hot chocolate and some nice pain au chocolat. That's when I normally find Mr. Lambert on duty in the canteen in the morning on those hot chocolate pain au chocolat days. But the most important thing, I think, for year 6 is that the staff in the canteen are there to help you, and you'll get used to it very, very quickly. And whatever it looks like in September, and normally what would happen is that year 7 would have their first day at Theale Green School as the only children on site, and we don't know how we're going to do it this September, but what we will do is make sure that your first experience of using the canteen is a really good experience, where you have time to make mistakes and go to the wrong end of the queue and not remember which finger you're meant to use on the fingerprint, so you won't feel any pressure. And very quickly, as we go through the winter months, I think you'll be rushing to get in there. What do most year 7s do? It really depends on what works for you, and a lot of our year 7s bring packed lunches, a lot of our year 7s use the canteen, and some of our year 7s do both, and they bring a sandwich for lunch, but they'll buy a little snack at break time. So I hope that answers the question, Mrs. Cartland. There's water freely available in water drinkers around the school, and mums and dads, you'll be pleased to know that we've just put up hand sanitizer machines by all of our water coolers, but there is water free around the school, and we do really recommend that you drink lots and lots of water during the day, and you bring a water bottle with you. So hopefully that answers a little bit of that, Mrs. Cartland.
Brilliant, thank you. And there's just a couple of questions that I'll be able to answer. So there's a few people that saying they don't think they're on our mailing list. Please don't worry, we will make sure that obviously you get all of the information that we're sending out. Now, I know a few of you are not year 6 parents, you actually have a year 9 at home who's about to transition into our year 10 and have really brilliantly come to join this as well. Lots of these activities are available to the year 10s, but in the background I am also working with their teacher to look at what the transition programme looks like for them as well. So please don't worry, we will include them along the way as well. And there was just a little question as we were talking about the canteen, about how we pay for lunch. We do have a fingerless catering system. So basically there's no money in the canteen. You go and basically put your finger on, and basically it's charged to your account, and a parent can keep topping it up, but also you can see how much they're spending in the background, and whether they've bought too many pain au chocolates and hot chocolates on one day, or whether they have chosen the nice healthy salad option along the way as well. So you are totally in control of that. And there's a final question about, is there a school bag? There isn't a dedicated school Theale Green bag. We do obviously suggest that a really robust rucksack is a good idea, because it has lots of room and obviously is easy to carry around the school site. So Mr. Taplin, this question is for you. There's lots of questions about whether lessons are interesting, whether they're fun, what teaching and learning is like at Theale Green. Now, I don't know anyone who's more energetic about teaching and learning than Mr. Taplin, so if I hand over to you.
Well, I mean, you've learned I'm a geography teacher. Geography lessons are certainly fun. But what I can say is that since I've been assistant head teacher for teaching and learning, we've had a huge drive, me and the whole of the leadership team, on making teaching and learning engaging, but with a keen focus on ensuring that progress is made in every lesson. And how we do that is we make sure that every single lesson in Theale Green School has DNAs. And what DNA is, it's a do it now activity. So at the start of a lesson, when students come in, there'll be an activity for them to get straight on with. So there's no lost learning time in the classroom. And they can range from activities. So you're not going to go from one lesson to the next having very similar DNAs. There's going to be things that are different, so that every hour of the day brings a different challenge or something a bit more exciting with it. And then we have a big focus across the school on lifting the lid. And lifting the lid is not just for our more able students. Lifting the lid is for every single student in Theale Green School. And it's the idea that teachers are there to raise aspirations and raise the progress of every single student, no matter what their starting point. And we do that through a process known as thinking hard. And thinking hard is about getting students to process their learning in lots of different ways, getting them to think about their learning in lots of different ways, so that within each subject that you go to, you'll be presented as a learner with lots of different activities that you might have to do to engage with the learning and make that progress that you want. What I can guarantee you is that you'll go through your day, you'll have your 5 lessons in your day, and it might not be geography that you have that day, but you'll still get through it. And in those 5 lessons, you're going to experience lots of different styles of learning, lots of different activities, and you will thoroughly enjoy your lessons. But lessons work when you put the hard work in. And just to go back to what Mrs. Halliday said at the start, if you show respect to everybody that's in the classroom and respect to the teacher, and you put that hard work in, you will get a lot out every single day at Theale Green School. But lessons are really, really fun and really, really good at Theale Green.
Fantastic, thank you, Mr. Taplin. And I echo that. My dance and food tech lessons are definitely very exciting, especially when you walk out and you've got your yummy box of treats that parents are very quickly diving into. So Charlotte, the next question is for you. There's been quite a few questions about Pupil Premium funding, how that works, trips, uniform, along those lines.
Yeah, thank you. Again, another really, really good question. So I lead the Pupil Premium strategy across the school. And what we've done is really broken down a student's experience into however many different elements there are. I think it's about 60 different elements. All these cogs in the wheel are all working really hard to make sure that all students gain the best possible experience possible. So what do we do with the Pupil Premium Fund? Well, a lot of the money goes into ensuring the quality of the lessons that Mr. Taplin was just referring to are really engaging, really absolutely lifting the lid and providing challenge for all. Equally, what we say to parents is that if you are in receipt of the Pupil Premium Fund, and ordinarily as you transition from year 6 into year 7, that should transition alongside your information from primary school. So we can use that to help fund things like school uniform, things like bus passes and so forth. We've been really, really pleased that across the last year or so, we've had several whole year trips that have gone out. So the whole of year 7 went to the theatre, the whole of year 8 went to the theatre, and just had these incredibly enriching experiences that we know school is about. I'm a maths teacher, and with the greatest of respect, as engaging as my lessons are, I know that that won't necessarily be the thing that someone holds on to when they are in their 20s or something, thinking back. It's about those quality enriching experiences that we offer, and these are a variety of activities across the year, and as I said, we very much use the fund to help ensure that everyone is able to access those. What we will do is anyone who's currently in receipt of Pupil Premium funding, we will make sure that a separate leaflet goes out to you, just in terms of what we can do to help and support.
Brilliant, thank you. And obviously, as Charlotte was speaking, lots of things have come up about uniform at the moment, because obviously we're in a very difficult situation where going to the shops is not as easy as it has been previously. And I know that I've sent you some information from Stevenson's, who's our uniform supplier. Now, shortly you will be receiving a letter from me and the rest of the leadership team that explains what we are going to do in terms of uniform, and obviously supporting everybody to make sure that it's a simple process as possible and that everybody is in the same place in September. So please do not worry about uniform. We are working really closely with the uniform suppliers to get as much information as possible. So I will send that all out to you in one clear letter. I know there's some questions about logos on shoes that are coming up, logos on bags. Everything will be in one clear letter. It's probably too long for us to go through this evening, but that letter will make it absolutely clear what our expectations are. And it may be that our expectations in September are slightly different, just because of the situation that we're in, and obviously the things that we're having to react to that are happening in the background. So please keep an eye out for that letter. Now, Mr. Lambert, this question's for you. There's a couple of questions about performances and getting involved in the arts. So if you want to cover performances, and then I will cover the private music lessons that's also been asked about.
Thank you. Okay, so we have lots of performance opportunities at the school. So we have the house events that we've talked about. That's house music, house performance, which is a mix of drama and dance. They occur in October for house music and in March for house performance. And that's an event where students come together and they work together to create pieces of work that they perform in front of an audience that are then judged by a very talented group of judges, including Mrs. Halliday there, who I know enjoys that greatly. We also have a school musical every year. And this year we did Sister Act, and we invite primary schools to it. And some of you may have seen Sister Act and Little Shop of Horrors, which is the other show. And we have a non-musical show as well every year. And we did Lion, the Witch and the Wardrobe last year, which again, a lot of primary school students came to see that too. And as well as that, we have some very interesting shows outside of school. We have something called the Winter Haunt, which is a piece that takes place in the Battle Library. Sixth formers perform in that, but it's open obviously to all years to come and see it. And one of the things that we do to we obviously want to encourage lots of students to be in plays, but we also want to encourage students to support their friends and to see themselves as part of a community. So we actually run a scheme, a loyalty card scheme, for want of a better word, where students get a stamp on their card for every performance they attend. And for every performance they attend, they get 5 house points. And if they get more than 6 stamps on their card, they get entered into a prize draw at the end of the year as well, just to encourage that habit of supporting their friends and colleagues as well. The way you get into a performance is basically there are auditions for the school shows. They're called open auditions. It means you come along and there are lots of fun activities to do, and then we cast the show based on what we see. Okay. Thank you. And Ms. Cartland, over to you for peripatetic music lessons.
Brilliant. So there's a few questions about our external music lessons. Now, they are all run by teachers that come into the school. They organise their own timetable. And if you are interested in those music lessons, what we will do is that we print all of the information in advance. We send a letter home, and you'll be able to contact the teachers directly to book those sessions in, and they happen during the school day. They basically come out of a lesson for a little bit of time, and that's on rotation. So it's not always the end of a maths lesson or the end of an English lesson or end of PE, so that they can basically take part in that. And we really encourage obviously all of the extracurricular activities at Theale Green. Now, we are about 9 minutes to the end of the evening's event, and there are still lots of questions coming in. So if we don't answer your question tonight, please don't worry. We will be releasing a leaflet after this that has every single question we didn't answer with a written response, so you can see it. Now, there is some questions about homework, Mr. Taplin. I think that's quite important for us to quickly cover. So is homework set? How's it set? And what happens if we don't do it?
So I'm sure there's lots of year 6s out there. If I was to ask you, do you enjoy your homework? The responses I might get. Now, we've done a lot of work on homework to try and make it more engaging for you when you come to Theale Green, and to make it, I guess, more challenging, but therefore more rewarding for you. And what we've done is, for each subject, apart from English, math and science, you get 1 subject each term. So you may come in, you know, if you were starting in September, you may come in, and for term 1, you may have history as your subject for that term. And you get what's known as a homework menu. And like if you went to a restaurant, when the restaurants open back up, you might have a starter, main and a pudding. And you get to choose 3 pieces of homework from this homework menu. So you get to choose 1 starter, 1 main and 1 pudding. And these are lots of different activities that might stretch you, do some part of the subject that you might not get to cover in your lesson. It might be that you do some additional research on a topic, and there'll be lots of different ways to present them. So it might be that you're asked to do a video or a model or a piece of extended writing or a poem, and each subject has their own way of delivering these homework menus, and they're there to make you really get to grips and enjoy specific subjects. In terms of how we set homework, we use a really fantastic application called Show My Homework, and teachers set the work on Show My Homework, and every student gets a login, and you get to download a free application if you've got a mobile phone, and you'll get a little pop-up and an alert you've been set homework. And also parents, you'll get login details to this application as well. And again, you can download an app, or you can access it by the website, so that you can see what your child's homework is and when the homework is due. So that's a good way of managing homework. But we've made it really fun, we've made it rewarding, and we've made it enjoyable, and a real good experience you'll have with the homework menus. Thanks, Sam.
Brilliant, thank you. And Linda, the last question this evening is for you before I hand over to Jo, and obviously we'll write down all of the questions that we haven't quite answered this evening. So there's a few questions coming through about additional support for students, that they get extra support at primary school. Does that continue? How do we work out who gets the extra support and when's it needed?
So thank you. So we have a dedicated team of learning mentors who work across all the year groups. They will be heavily involved in settling in the year 7s when they arrive. So how do we work out who needs support? So we would use a variety of things. We are meeting with your year 6 teachers at the moment who are letting us know who has support in primary school. We will also look at the work you're producing when you get to us at secondary school, because we know sometimes people are very different when they leave primary and come into secondary. We will also, if you have an EHCP, we will obviously very closely follow your EHCP. But if you are a student who is on the SEN register under the K code, then we will look at what we need to do. We don't have a set program I can give you a name to. We have very bespoke packages that are tailored to each individual need. Our aim is always to promote independence, and it is always to help the young people in the school to make progress. So we will do whatever we need to do for your young children who come in year 6 to leave us, whether it be at year 11 or the end of year 13, to be as independent as they can be so they can move on to the next stage. So that is our focus. So our core principle is independence and progress, and with a very nurturing side to it as well. But if anybody, as I said at the beginning, does actually want to have a more detailed conversation about your son or daughter's needs, we do have your email addresses as you've linked up to this, but just pop a little note in the chat to Miss Cartland, and then we'll have your names and I'll know who to contact. So thank you very much, Sam.
Fantastic, thank you. So just a quick summary that the next couple of really important steps that are coming up. So you will receive a letter about the uniform and how to go about purchasing that really safely via Stevenson's. You will get some questions that we haven't quite been able to answer this evening and a written response to those. And you'll get a copy of this video just in case you want to watch it back, just to listen to any of the information that you may not quite have caught while you're trying to juggle things in the background and quickly listen to everything all at once. We'll also, towards the end of this month, be letting you know who your tutor is and what house you are in, and we are working on a very exciting way to launch which house you are in, so look out for that shortly as well. So Mrs. Halliday, if I hand over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Cartland. And I was just thinking that in the lockdown, you must have really worked your way through Netflix if you're going to be watching this video back, but we hope you will anyway, and share it with your friends. So I was just thinking as it quickly got to the end about, well, you know, what's the one question that I know would have normally been asked that we haven't been able to answer tonight, and I thought actually this is clubs and lunchtime and what happens at lunch. So I'm a science teacher, and science lessons are definitely fun, and I was thinking about Miss Joma, who runs a sort of a Harry Potter science club at lunchtimes, and Mr. Lambert oversees all the clubs that take place at school during lunchtime, and we have a house hub as well where you can go and sit and play Uno and Connect 4 at tables that are done out in all the house colours. So at lunchtime there'll be lots for you to do, and I hope you don't mind, Mrs. Cartland, I just thought I would throw that one in at the end as we close up. So there's a couple of things that I'd like to finish with. Firstly, Mrs. Cartland tells me that you've all received a contact about a quiz tomorrow night through our platform called Let's Localise. We would love you as our new families to join that quiz. There is no Zoom involved. The quiz is really good fun. I've had a go at a sample set of questions already. You're not waiting for anyone else to catch up with questions. You get signed on, and the more quickly you answer the questions accurately, the higher up the leaderboard you go, and you can see other families, and it's about 45 minutes. Questions are brilliant for families, so please join us tomorrow night if you can. It's 7 till 7:45. No Zoom involved, I promise. And the two more things to say. Firstly, I want to say a massive thank you to Stacey on it in the background for helping us run tonight, and particularly to Sam Cartland, who's done an amazing job. And I think she's got a job for life on Zoom at Theale Green School now. So Sam, thank you so much for just doing such a great job for us all tonight. I want to finish by saying welcome, your first major step to Theale Green School, and we have staff who are absolutely dedicated to making Theale Green School be the best possible school it can be. We have young people who bring determination, enthusiasm and laughter to our school every day, and we appreciate that so much. And we have a community that is really committed to the journey that we're on as a school, and we can't wait to welcome you. So I will say thank you very much for joining us, and have a great rest of the week, and we look forward to seeing you all very soon. Thank you. Bye-bye.